If I have to live one more day of this lie, I'd rather be dead.
You're endorsing a war against the biological part of yourself. So you're going to be at war for the rest of your life.
It's unfair to force me to make myself smaller for society. I'm all about trans rights. I'm all against exposing it to children.
Where do you draw the line?
Why do you care what other people think about you? Who cares? Are they paying your bills? Everyone wants to be unique, but no one wants to be a freak.
How long are you going to stay there?
Now, the question is though, are you hurting yourself? Welcome back to Reality Squared, the podcast, episode number 6, the Sharon David duo. Excited to be back. We are back. And I was thinking about it today. In the last podcast, in the last episode, I mentioned that notion of fairness and how life is not fair. And I was taught that as a kid. And I wanted to kind of delve into that and the impacts on humanity based on people's perception of fairness and their reactions that they have when things are not fair in their mind. I see it.
It's not fair to remind me of the mess you left when you went away. Remember that one?
It's not fair.
Yeah. Alanis, that was Alanis.
Alanis Morissette, yeah. I'm not sure that those are the exact words, but fair. Fair is it's something that I think really it holds people back. It causes a lot of anger and distress and anxiety based on what they think is fair or not fair. And I just wanted to kind of unpack that whole concept of fairness in life. I mean, in your line of work, I mean, you talk to all these, military vets, and you talk to people who are on death row, and you talk to people who are just in all these predicaments in life. And I mean,
and it's not fair having given up their lives, their sacrifice to go into Afghanistan or whatever the case may be, and then come back and be treated as if they're just nothing, basically.
Yeah. And then
maybe that fairness, maybe that unfairness is justified in a way.
I don't know. I mean,
but you can't dwell on it because it's also going to stunt growth.
So that's the thing. I think that in life, people need to learn how to mourn in a healthy way that allows them to move on, kind of shed the bad.
Hit the nail on the head.
Shed the bad, keep the lessons because those are good, and then move forward.
Gotta move forward, yeah.
But you may need to mourn first. I totally think that mourning is an important thing. People talk about mourning when it comes to death. Mourning happens when it comes to literally everything in life that you feel is a massive negative impact on you needs mourning.
Yeah. Loss is an integral part of life. Loss of everything, youth, dreams, whatever it is, money. You gotta, mourning it, grieving it, coming to terms with it. But you gotta get out of it. Like I said yesterday, what are you doing? I'm mourning. Why are you mourning? Because of this and that. How long are you gonna stay there?
How long?
The most important question.
How long?
How long? Have it be a split second.
Yeah.
Intense enough that you really own it and feel it utterly and completely, that loss.
Yeah.
And then goodbye. What else can I do? What other goals can I generate?
And, I think that it's important for people to know their mourning languages. Like you have love languages, there are, in my mind, mourning languages. And the way that you mourn may not resonate with the way that I need to mourn to overcome some kind of pain or loss, Some people are big criers. They need to really release and cry, and which definitely has physical manifestations in you chemically that definitely can help you overcome and calm yourself
If it's triggered by a genuine emotion,
Yes.
it needs to come from the emotion, not just crying for the sake of crying.
Yeah. The emotion
It needs to be secondary.
brings exactly. And then there are people I think that are not big criers, and that's not kind of their MO.
Men don't cry, you know that, right?
I mean, men do cry. Men do cry. A lot of men definitely cry. They should. No, they should. Men should cry. A real man knows how to cry.
Correct. Straight up. It's like we said, it's not being scared of that feminine side.
And I don't think that crying is necessarily feminine. I don't even relate it to feminine. I think you mean that in that it's a softer, more emotional.
Emotional, self-reflective.
But
you cry because of self-reflection.
But I think being emotional is part of being a manly man as well. I think to be a formidable man without emotion is just
But when you cry, you're weaker, right? You're more vulnerable.
Right, but when you go to the gym and you work out for 2 hours and you're lifting weights, you're weaker when you leave the gym too. But you got the release and you're building something. You're building your muscles that are going to then heal and grow because you shredded them up in the gym. So just like that, crying, it's kind of making you weaker in a moment so that you can overcome and overpower afterwards. It's allowing you to release whatever it is that you need so that you can go without it. So it's not a function of you being weaker or more feminine. It's a function of just you overcoming something. And it's one of your emotional languages and your mourning languages that helps you do that.
I guess maybe masculine, feminine is the wrong term. Maybe yin and yang. It's dual. Maybe that's better.
Fair. Yeah, totally. But I mean, like yin and yang, everyone has to have that duality, right? There are going to be women who are going to have certain traits that are kind of more masculine sometimes, and there are going to be men who have traits that are sometimes more feminine sometimes, and
that's I guess the question we're grappling with now. How much of that spectrum actually dictates who we are? For instance, the gender. If you're born a certain biological gender, right? Sex rather. Ultimately, the question is, does that ultimately, is the bottom line that you're male and therefore your identity, the core of your identity should be, or see what I'm getting at?
Do you not know any super feminine straight guys? I do. Do you not know any super masculine straight women? I do.
Yeah, the whole gamut.
So I think it's unique to the individual. I think everyone gets to choose their own flavor of whatever they like, whatever is, however, and a lot of that is going to be based on their influences.
Be that as it may, if somebody identifies in a female role and they are born male, I will assert that it would be better for them to accept that they're a masculine form of feminine and embrace that masculine self and still be feminine and do whatever they want to do, as opposed to start imposing surgical means because we know once you stop the surgical means, once you stop the hormones, it will go back to basics. And if it's a biologically oriented self that is male, a gender that's male, a sex that's male, you're going to fall back on it. So rather, you do yourself so much better by just accepting that part of you and still do whatever you want with it.
So then what do you...
As opposed to be insane for the rest of your life to try to tame that or erase it or eliminate it, because you can't eliminate biological processes.
So then what does that make trans people?
Yeah, so I guess I'm on that side where it's an exercise in tremendous pain to try to control that biological self. It would behoove one, I think so, I hypothesize, that it's better for you. It's better for you to accept all the processes that are occurring inside of you. To be at war with yourself, because that's what's happening.
Right.
You're endorsing a war against the biological part of yourself.
Right.
So you're going to be at war for the rest of your life, because that biological self will always be there. It's always going to assert itself. It's your mother nature. It's what it is.
And basically also what you're saying is that you don't need to make the physical change to be and play the role.
Correct. Exactly. You'll just be one form of feminine that has masculine features. I'm just saying it's a healthier path.
Right.
It's a healthier path. Because my pervasive philosophy is self-acceptance on every single level.
Right.
You know? Accept those things that you cannot change. You know? Have courage to change things you can.
Work with what you got. Make the best with what you have. Be your own MacGyver. Right? Make magic out of the tools that you have at your disposal.
It's not about being at war with yourself. Really. It's exhausting. It's just pathology. War with yourself. Conflict with yourself. You know?
Yeah.
What a waste of time. Who needs that? God doesn't need that. You think, you certainly don't need it. Your friends don't need it. Your family doesn't need it.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I always kind of shy away from having opinions about these things because I'm not in their shoes and I don't know what they're going through and what they've gone through. And I mean, I have two good friends that I've, one from my childhood, one from my early adulthood, who both were biological men that became trans women. And I talked to both of them and it's funny, like they don't know each other, different countries. And they both told me the same thing. They said, if I have to live one more day of this lie, I'd rather be dead. And that's powerful too. And that may be powerful enough to go through the physical, pain of fighting against your own biology to fulfill mental, whatever the mental things that you need fulfilled in order for you not to want to die.
Yes.
So I
empathize with it greatly.
Yeah. I don't know where.
I don't know where it's coming from. What's going on there? I don't know. I want to learn.
Right. Again, it's hard for me to empathize. I sympathize with them. I'm like hearing that from two of my good friends was obviously a painful thing to hear. Not for me, but like it's painful for them. Like they're going through real pain. They've gone through pain their entire lives. They've been living a whole lie since they're younger, and they've had to deal with it every day.
So I'll venture to say, as I said, yeah, play the role if you identify as a feminine, but you really have to, go with the procedures of becoming a feminine biological organism.
Well, so I mean, but think, if you were struggling with something every day that was something that would really take you to a place where you didn't want to be alive anymore, and then you finally kind of find a path to get to kind of the place where you want to be that's going to make you happy, you might go to extremes. You might not take the like kind of middle road of, okay, I'm not going to modify my body biologically. I'm going to act upon how I want to be perceived by myself and by others. And if that's like a woman, so be it. I can be a male and act like a girl. Right? And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I think that though at that point, it's been such a heavy weight that's been so consistent. It's like having a pinched nerve on your back for like forever. And every moment of every day, you're just writhing in pain until one day, you find a way to relieve the pain. And it's like, if it's an extreme path to relieve that pain, you're going to take it because you have fatigue. And the fatigue is causing an extreme, what your body thinks is a defense against feeling that fatigue and that pain anymore. And so you're willing to go distances that people, and again, it takes away common sense in a way. The pain that they go through takes away their common sense of weighing the pros and cons and being like, okay, if I don't carve myself up, I can still live the way I want to live and get what I want out of my life in terms of my self-perception, gender wise, right? But then maybe you can't. Maybe some of them really are like, I need to physically be a woman because that's who and what I am.
And in today's society, I guess they're fighting for the freedom, for the right to have the support, not to feel.
Oh, I'm all about trans rights. I'm all against exposing it to children.
Why? Where do you draw the line? What if your child, because they often say that they've felt that way since the age of 4.
I draw the line where you cannot give your kids hormones and make physical changes to your children. They have to be of age. I mean, you can't drive a car. You can't vote. You can't buy alcohol and cigarettes till you're a certain age. It's an adult decision because there are elements of that decision that you can't know when you're a child, right?
They claim that they know from a very young age.
Elements like intimacy elements, where until you're an adult, you have no clue what sex is going to be like. And sex as a trans person is not like sex as a non-trans person. When you get
intimate with someone.
When you make physical changes to your body, right?
Well, there's other factors that come into play.
So those are factors that you can't know as a kid.
The one tunnel, one vision, it's
correct. This is not all about just your self-perception. You have to logistically live with this.
Right. You're absolutely right. How can you give a kid that decision when they haven't been exposed to so much of life?
They can't know.
What's necessary in life.
Yeah.
What makes you, as you said, intimacy, socializing,
career,
occupation, I was about to say, yeah.
I mean, and it's unfortunate, and I'm very for trans rights in the workplace and equal. They're people. I mean, like what you choose to be and how you choose to be it shouldn't affect what you can do unless it impacts your mentality.
But I still hold the position, maybe it's because of my cultural background or religious background, I still hold the position that just because it feels right and it's something that relieves pain doesn't mean that it's right.
No.
It doesn't mean that it will relieve pain in the long run.
No.
In fact, it may invite even more pain in other areas of your life. Not everything a human being wants should necessarily be reinforced.
I don't know. Is it fair? Is it unfair?
Right. In what sense? Is it
in
fair?
The sense that I think I want it, and therefore
I should have what I want.
I should have what I want. This is my life.
This is this generation. That's exactly what we're doing.
It's unfair to force me to do otherwise and to make myself smaller for society, right? I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to live the life that I want to live the way that I want to live it, unapologetically, as long as I'm not negatively impacting anybody else. Right?
Anyone else or society as a whole?
I mean, as long as I'm not breaking laws and hurting people.
Right. So let's make laws that allow me to be myself, right?
Right. And I mean, I think society's getting there. It's a journey. I mean, any change takes time, and this is a very fundamental change because we went from a very binary system to a very non-binary system, and it's a societal change. It's a very fundamental change that never really existed before. Like, I mean, there were men who were attracted to men, and there were women who were attracted to women for all time, going back to the beginning. I mean, why do you think the Bible even brings it up, right? It's been a thing forever. But,
my dad always says, I was raised this way, this basic paradigm that I may disagree with everything that you stand for, but I will fight you the right for that, for what you're saying.
Fair.
I think it's Voltaire. I don't remember what that source is, but I may disagree with you. I may disagree with what you're doing, with how you're living your life, but you should have the right to live that life and to make those choices and suffer the consequences of those choices.
And suffer the consequences of the choices.
100%.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that.
I do too. I totally believe that. And I think it touches back to that fairness conversation around, like, it's only fair to let me live the way that I want to live. Why are you forcing me to do things in my life that I don't want to do, and spend time or money or energy on doing things that don't bring me closer to where I want to be? Like, just leave me alone. Let me do my thing. And if I'm not hurting anybody else, not breaking any laws, leave me alone. Right. Now, the question is, though, are you hurting yourself?
Well, right. And if you are,
and if you are, you're going to pay the consequences, obviously. But then, as a maybe loved one or as a medical professional, is there a place for you to try and intervene with the notion that you're protecting the person from themselves. And by doing so, that what's driving you to do that could be a very fundamental difference in how you see reality than the person that you're helping. Meaning that the person that you're helping may think, for example, the trans situation, that doing this surgery is going to bring them to the promised land and that they're going to be so happy. And then maybe someone else comes in and is like, hey, listen, I know that you think that this is the answer to your problems. It's not. And here are the reasons why. And I love you and I care about you and I want you to be the best that you can be. And you're going down a road of doing things that are not easily undone and are going to have major life impacts for you physically, emotionally, chemically. And I'm trying to help you. But that person that you're trying to help doesn't fundamentally believe in what you're saying. They're coming from a different place. So by you thinking that you're trying to help them and protect them from themselves, that person thinks that you're just disrespecting me. You just don't respect my perspective. You just don't respect my opinion. You just don't respect my life. And you think that you know better than me. Like, where's that line? Like, do you do that? Or do you just let the person freaking hang? Let him go.
Well, you got to respect people. You got to respect them. You got to respect their autonomy, their decision-making capacity, even if you think what they decide. The golden rule, are they hurting anyone?
Are they hurting anyone?
That's it. Is it good for them? Is it good for their family? Is it good for whatever the case may be? As long as people are conscious of not getting in each other's way and allowing one another to blossom and to actualize all their talents, and I guess on some level, it doesn't matter what you choose. Yeah. But you got to be prosperous and you got to be successful.
Agreed.
Don't be depressed. Mitzvah gedolah b'simcha. It doesn't serve anybody, anything.
Yeah.
Got to be happy. Got to do what makes you happy and others around you happy.
And I think it's important to look happy. B'sefer panim yafot, right? We're supposed to have a happy face. Happy face. And it's funny, when I remember learning that for the first time about the concept of putting on a happy face, and I'm like, but what if I'm not happy? And it's like, it doesn't really matter. You can still put on a happy face.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it?
I never really believed that. I was contemplating that. I don't know how much I believe of that.
Well, to me, it's not a fake it till you make it. It's the learning process. You're just learning. And we can call it fake it till you make it because you're trying to do something that you are still learning how to do. But ultimately, it's the learning process. You're learning.
You got to ingrain in your mind a fundamental law, a fundamental principle that everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is going to take me to a greater part of myself. No matter what's going on. And that's what, Louise Hay, same idea. Mm-hmm. You've got to develop that very thought, that very connection in your brain that everything is fine. And it doesn't serve you to freak out, get angry, lose your mind. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone.
Oh, listen, anxiety is a choice. Worry is a choice. Anger, fear are all choices. But these are choices that are super hard for some people not to make. Super hard. They get triggered by things that invoke those emotions and invoke those responses. And while you can sit there and say, okay, I'm so anxious about this thing. I know it's not life and death. I know it's not a big deal. I know I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to get over it, but I'm still anxious about it.
Yes. Don't fool yourself, right? You got to know yourself. You got to identify what's going on. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? How long for? How am I going to do it? I know that already. So can I relax now?
Yeah.
From an 8 to a 7, 7 to a 6, can I just... And it doesn't come overnight. You have to work on that.
No. It takes time. And practice. It takes practice. Catching yourself in that moment and then forcing yourself to calm yourself down, talk to yourself out loud. I will sometimes talk to myself out loud. No big deal. Usually I don't answer back, but you never know. Right?